Whatever you want to do for these 10 minutes, I'm down with that.
I have no agenda whatsoever. So I'm open to creating and whatever happens, yay.
Oh, then we are going to get along just perfectly right here.
Okay.
I too have no agenda. Well, I do. I lie. I have an agenda, and that's just to have fun.
That's a great agenda to have.
And then afterwards, I like to have a little conversation and find out like how you got into improv and you know if something popped up in our scene. But I don't like to dissect the scene in any way. But it's just like having a little conversation afterwards.
Great.
Um, and then I will give you, let's see, I will tell you how many suggestions we have, and then you just pick a number, and then I'll tell you what the suggestion is based on that number, and then we just go.
Okay.
All right, so let me bring us here on Facebook, and let me pull up our. Let's see, we have one, two. We've got 39 suggestions. So pick a number 1 to 39.
39 wonderful suggestions. I'm going to go with 38.
Oh, all right. 39. Oh, well, let's see. I mean, this is actually a comment, which I count as a suggestion. So the comment is Cece! Exclamation point, exclamation point. So our suggestion is Cece! Exclamation point, exclamation point.
Cool. What a great suggestion.
So great.
So good to be here with you today.
It is, Cece, it is so great to see you. I was hoping you'd come out and you came out, so thank you.
You are welcome. And see, see everything right now. We get to just see it all right now.
I mean, that's it. It's like we, every day that we were going to get together, we didn't. And it became this thing of we were talk about it. It's like, we should get together. And then I was like, I keep saying that every time I run into you, and we never did get together. And now we got together. So you're right. We can just sit here and see everything. And I,
It's so cool. Yeah, I mean, we were like using other senses. We were
yeah,
using hearing and speaking and no touch, but seeing
yeah,
now and like a complete picture.
yeah.
Yeah, great.
I mean, it's a great day.
It is. It's a little warm, but
Yeah.
there are much bigger things to complain about than a little bit of warmth.
Yeah, I'm like I'm trying to see things in a positive light because it is
Yes.
a little humid. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's a touch of like okay, enough is enough, right? Like it's a little warm for me, and I was like, I'm never gonna, I told myself I'm not gonna live in the valley, and here I am living in the valley, so I've only got myself to blame.
Yeah, right. Same with me. I like feel like I'm living on the edge of a bayou in Louisiana right now, and I swore I'm never living on a bayou, but here I am in Covina, and I could be living on a bayou right now. It's so flippin' humid.
I mean, it's
Oh,
the closest thing on the West Coast to a bayou.
it really is.
I mean, it
Yeah,
is just and again, I don't want to complain, but
me.
man, it's sticky.
Yes. And when we like see the big picture
When you
of
see
everything,
it,
right? I think humidity has a place in life, and it's important.
but is it now and here?
Maybe not.
Yeah, it might not be now and here, but again, you're right. It's good to see you. It's good to be seen. It's also
Yeah.
good to see you, and like, I mean, it's the only place we could have met too.
Right, right. Here in the Ethernet, the virtual reality of things, the
The
virtual
virtual
world.
space, and it's
Yeah.
let's be honest, it's the safest way. We're still
Oh,
meeting.
absolutely. Getting the benefit of human connection, but
Yeah.
doing it in a way that's appropriate and safe.
Which, thank you, isn't, I mean, if we had just been this way from the beginning of humankind, we would not be in this mess we are now.
Totally. Like, if we had never ever coughed on one another or like breathed, we would not be having this problem,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
And in fact, if we never breathed at all, there would be no problems.
right. Like, if you're saying, like, if we'd never manifested as human beings, like, we're just still floating, like, in the,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
If we were just right, exactly. If we hadn't become actual human beings, but we were just floating out there as ethereal spirits, then it
Yes.
would have been, no problems whatsoever. But again, I don't want to complain. I feel like I'm complaining a lot, and I'm trying to. I gave up complaining for Lent.
Oh,
People, yeah, people give up like chocolate and alcohol. I'm giving up complaining. So I don't want you to think that I'm complaining whatsoever.
me either. I'm like happy that I manifested. I'm happy that you manifested because that's why we're here together. And when was Lent again? That was like in March or something, right?
Yeah, I think it was the 14th.
Okay, is that over? Because I've been complaining a lot lately.
March, we'll see April, and then it takes through Easter. So, yeah, it's over. I mean, technically, it's been over for a few months, but I like to say when I give something up for Lent, it's for the year. It's like a New Year's resolution but instead of doing something, I'm giving something up.
Okay, but if it's like a pandemic year, because that's like 100 years in and like one day at the same time.
Right.
So how do you count that time?
I
Like,
mean, I feel like at the end of this year, this thing I've given up complaining that I'm not doing whatsoever. I'm not complaining. I feel like I'm good for the next 5 years. I feel like it's a 5 year like equivalency. So 1 year in this year is equal to 5 years regular time. So I'm doing this so I have 5 years where I don't have to do it.
that is such a great way to
Yeah.
do live. Like you just like you're good for 5 years.
Yeah, and then it's like it's like going to get a test, and it's like, well, come back in 5 years. I feel it's the same thing applies in this case.
Right. Yes. Great analogy.
Thank
Wow.
you,
Yeah.
thank you for the compliment too. Like a lot of people don't understand, and I'll be honest. And the part of me is like, I wish people would get my analogies a lot more, and boy,
Yes.
you did. So thank you for that.
But that's when it's like I see you. I don't just see, I see you.
And what's funny too is like you weren't actually reaching out to me to meet up, but you CC'd me on the email,
Oh my gosh.
and
And then
I was like, "Hey, are you sure you want me on this email?" And you were like, "Oh yeah, hey," and like, so if you had not done that, we still would have just been talking about getting together.
it's just amazing how serendipitous life is. Because I BCC'd somebody once, and that did not work out well at all.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've never connected after that. Like BCC is bad, 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 bad CC.
That's
Yeah,
what it's that's the initials. It's bad CC.
I think that's what it means. Yeah, yeah.
I wonder
So
if I did BCC someone once. It was my ex-wife, and that did not work out well at all. It was on purpose, but still, it was bad. It was my fault. It was totally my fault. Not her fault. It was my fault.
well, it's so awesome that you own that, and that's part of like the probably that Lent commitment that you have, right? Like not complaining anymore about things.
Yeah. And again, yeah, thank you. I am not by no means. People have it a lot worse off than I do. And if this sounds like I'm complaining, you got to hold my feet to the fire and tell me, hey, you're complaining right now. Don't forget you gave that up for Lent.
Yeah. Okay. Good reminder. Good reminder. I
Yeah.
could. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, you know what else is funny? I'm not even Catholic.
Oh my gosh. Neither am I. I
Yeah.
thought Lent was something everybody did.
Well, that's what I thought. And then last year, my roommate was like, "Hey, you want to go to St. Matthew's with me?" I was like, "Why? I'm not Catholic." He goes, "Well, why are you giving things up for Lent all the time?" And I was like, "That's a Catholic thing?"
We, you mean like we don't have to like mandatorily give something up? That's
No.
what?
That's the crazy part of it. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's not like required of you like it is required of a Catholic.
I'm blown out of the water. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought we would be taxed if we didn't participate. That's what I had heard.
But again, I'm not complaining about it. I just want to say I wish
Yeah.
somebody would have told me. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Not a complaint, not
Right.
just, I'm calling them observations. It's just an observation that if somebody had told me, then maybe things would have been different. That's all. Not a complaint.
I like that reframing of like the complaining. Like it's not a complaint, it's like an observation,
An
see,
observation. Yeah.
and a critical thinking piece there. Yeah.
It's a CC piece. It's a critical thinking piece.
Right. I love this.
That's
So
what it is. So there
yeah.
was a reason, even though you didn't think it, for some reason you CC'd me on this and it led to something good, whether you intended to or not. So I want to say, thank you so much. And kudos, universe, for making this happen.
Yay, universe. Thank you for seeing us.
It's been
Wow.
great. It's been great. And thank you. I mean, just, it could have been made this a lot more awkward. We
Yes.
didn't. So thank you.
Like what would we even have to talk about if it weren't for this? I was kind of dreading, a little nervous. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? But you just show up and things work out.
Well, I have a little secret, if I may. I wrote down a bunch of things just in case there wasn't anything to talk about, but I didn't need it. But I was very nervous, so I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff that we could talk about, and I did not need any one of those.
I was kind of too. Like I have page one, page two, page three,
Oh, good.
600. But that's it. I mean, I didn't fill the whole book, just like 600 pages.
Well, I mean that's good. I mean 600 I think is I mean that's the appropriate number to fill out when you're not sure what you're going to say to somebody.
Right, right.
Ah, we have got to do this again. And I mean it. I'm not saying, hey, let's do it again and then another, 4 years passes like before. This time I'm meaning it. I'm not giving excuses, but this time it's for real.
Okay, we will make it happen. And thank you so much for allowing yourself to be CC'd and, you know, showing up.
And thanks for your CC. CC. Scene.
CC scene.
That was so fun, Val. That was so fun. The CC was great. We talked, you told me a little bit about your story, but I want to talk about it here. Like, tell again what brought you into improv.
Well, it's just something I wanted to do for a long time. I'm going to mention my son. My son grew up doing a ton of musical theater, did a lot of improv, and I was a kind of a stage mom type lady, and used to watch him and just loved it. And so I'm an empty nester now, and my boy has always encouraged me to, you know, check it out, do it, like go for it, mom. And I finally got to the place where I was like, okay, I will. And yeah. Anyway,
Whoa, whoa,
um,
whoa. Not anyway. That's a great story. And because you've recently started taking classes.
yes, at Second City,
Yeah.
and I was very petrified to like do this. And I remember I'm like, okay, Val, you just have to do this. Like action, that's it. Like however scared you are, you just gotta put one foot in front of the other, sign up. And it took me like three times to get into a class at Second City. And because they were canceling, I wanted to do it in Pasadena because Pasadena was way safer than Hollywood and
Yeah.
all this. So finally, I'm like, okay, I just have to call and talk to a human voice. And I remember the day that I called Second City. I called. They opened their box office at 8 a.m. And I'm like 7:59, bring, nobody answered. And my inner critic was like, okay, forget it. This is like that's the universe telling you move on.
Yeah.
You don't have time. And then I called again at 8:05, bring, nobody answered. Again, the inner critic was like, just forget it. And then on the third ring, this lovely young lady answered, and I asked her every stupid question I could think of, and she was so reassuring and warm, and she
Oh.
can to take the class. And so that was it. I fell in love. I just loved it. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And it's great because, like, I tell people all the time, your time spent in a class or on a team or on a stage, it doesn't equate to your talent level. So if it's like, well, I've taken classes for 10 years, doesn't mean you're that good. It just means you've taken classes for that amount of time. The same with you might have only taken classes for a short amount of time, but that doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. It just means like, oh, you've only had a limited amount of experience in a classroom, but that doesn't mean you can't improvise as well as other people. And playing with you is one of those feelings of like, oh yeah, you get it. Like you already are ahead of the game. So quieting that inner critic is the hardest thing that we have to do. Not just in improv class, but I think in life.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. I was in a workshop last weekend, and it was like a mindful self-compassion 2 day. It was brilliant, wonderful, so healing. And they had us writing letters to our inner critic.
Oh,
Like, why? Like, why do you taunt me like you do? And my inner critic basically shared with me, it was like, I want to keep you safe. I want to keep you from getting hurt. So I got to write her a little letter and say, thank you very much, but you know, I don't need your help. So just doing some work around that, and improv has been such a gateway to becoming lighter and taking myself less seriously, and really being able to connect with some amazing people that I would not have the opportunity to do so with.
and is that why you have a number four after your name? Were you in an improv workshop where
I
where
was.
I'm like, I know why you've got a number there. You were in a workshop where you had a number off. I had one too that I just changed before this, where I was like, it was like 1J, and I'm like, oh, I got to remember to change that. But you could always tell improvisers because they've got numbers next to their names.
We just played. I connected with a lady in my number one in my first class, Diane Kay, and she's become a good friend, and we have a group of ladies that improvise on the weekends, and we just have so much fun. Yeah.
Oh my God, what a great. And I feel like it's made it easier for those things to happen now because we're all indoors. We have our schedules are not the same like they were before. So I think it's easier to get a group together who dig each other, who like playing together, and then just spend a little bit of time out of your week laughing and having fun with people you really start to get close with.
Yes, and then meeting other people. I took a class today with Nathaniel Montgomery, and there were people there from England and Turkey, and it was fantastic. So, anyway,
Oh, have you and Nathaniel should do it one of these. He does 10-minute improv scenes as well, and I think it'd be great. He's a very talented teacher and performer. Has the same, like I do as well, having the same battle with these inner critics.
I
And like,
actually I actually got the chance to improvise with him a few weeks ago, and it was the first time I've ever done this, and it was really a wonderful experience. Yeah.
oh, and he makes it so easy for people too. Like he is so very supportive, and he's also a great actor. So he's able to access like emotions and focus on relationships, and he's very clever and makes some really unique choices. I like playing with him, and I like watching him too. I think he's great.
Yeah.
I love the idea of writing your a letter to your inner critic and also saying thank you, but I'm ready to kind of make a new chapter in my life. I think that having that attitude is really healthy too.
Yeah, I told a friend I gave her a restraining order and told her don't come back ever, and she was back the next day. But I guess that's just how it works.
You're like, no, I have a restraining order. Get away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is that you're in a constant state of trying to deal with that sabotager, that self-sabotaging mindset. And I do think improv does help that. And the more you find kind of your ensemble and your tribe as you do this, the easier it gets because you realize you've got other people that you can rely on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like everything, right?
Yeah. Um, if people want to follow you or check out things you're doing, online, like what's the best way for them to do that?
Facebook.
It's the best.
Yeah, I have no Instagram really. I'm just a Facebook person. You'll see pictures of like my dogs and things like that, and maybe something I've cooked every now and then. But
Well, it was awesome. I had so much fun playing with you. Thank you for taking time out. I can't wait till we do it again, whether it's another virtual one or in person.
Cool. I really appreciate your time and the opportunity. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you, Val. We'll talk soon.
Okay, have a good rest of the weekend.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.